A young woman who is spending some time hanging out at my friend's place these days, in addition to having a job and going to school. So, Heather, tell us a little bit about my friend's place. What do you do for young people?
Sure. What we do, again, we any kid that's between the age of 13 and 19 can come into the shelter. We have the obvious overnight help where they can sleep, eat, shower, but we also do drop-in services where a child can simply show up, they can shower, they can get supplies from us, school supplies, hygiene supplies, they can eat food, they can wash their clothes, they can hang out if they just need a cooling down period, if there was a fight at home, or they just need a break, they are welcome to come in also.
Mm-hmm. How many young people do you provide a place to sleep on a nightly basis?
Currently we're doing about 10 a night. We can hold 16.
Okay. How is the program funded?
Well, we get a very small stipend from Benton and Franklin County, and everything else is through donation from our community.
Donations?
Yeah.
To run the, wow.
Yes, it is almost all donation. We put on events like the Beggars Banquet and Taiwan On, and we have great organizations like Atomic City Beer Club, who's putting on an event this Saturday, and all the proceeds come to my friend's place.
Mm-hmm. So, for example, in Desirene's situation, she's not just there for a night, correct? She's there for weeks, months at a time?
Yes.
And in fact, in her situation, you say at age 19, they can no longer stay there?
That's our cutoff age, yes.
Yeah. And so what will happen to Desirene?
At this time, we don't know. Our biggest goal is to help her get housing. She's currently does have a job and she is in school, so it's one of those, how is she going to afford to have her own home? And we see this situation every day when our kids get older. It's heartbreaking because we know for most of them, it's right back on the streets. It's a life of drugs. It's heading to prison.
So if my friend's place was not there, what do you think would be happening to a lot of these young people?
We probably see a lot more of them involved in drugs and sex trafficking. We'd see a lot more of them just on the streets. They would not be in school, and they'd have very little hope for the future.
Wow. You know, in doing a little bit of reading about this, I was really pretty shocked. I mean, again, people, I am naive. I'm still thinking that the world is a good place, and when I see things that like destroy that idea, it really hurts me. But I see in the reading that some 40% of the homeless population of teenagers are gay and lesbian young people.
Yes.
And their families have disowned them. I can't imagine that.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking. We have the gay and lesbian population that have been disowned. We have young pregnant girls that are being kicked out by their families for religious reasons, putting a pregnant teen on the streets. We have parents that come to our shelter and drop off their kids.
They drop them off?
They literally drive up, come in, and they sign the child over to us. They give their consent for the child to stay. And
why? What are their reasons? What are their reasons? What are
the most recent was that the woman's boyfriend was not getting along with her son.
Mm-hmm.
And I work with him on a daily basis. He's never going to forget that day that she dropped him at the homeless shelter.
Yeah. Well, I think it's fair to also recognize that young people that have had some trouble in their life, they're not angels. I mean,
Correct.
They're oftentimes show up at your doorstep with some behaviors that are really difficult, and so I can see that parents might have some difficulty in how to provide the home environment for them.
Right. If they have really bad kids, you know, if the kids have problems themselves, if they're drug abusers, if the child is abusive, they need to seek help through the law enforcement first, because we can't take kids who have felony convictions of assault. We can't take kids who have extreme mental health disorders, because our first priority is the safety of all of our kids.
Mm-hmm. All right, so what do you, I want you to tell me some success stories. I mean, I'd have to think that Desirene is a success story. I mean, here she is, going to school, and she is also, she's got a job now, so that's a success, don't you think, Desirene?
Yeah.
What would be more successful to you?
Get my own place.
Oh, okay. All right. So, you know, I think young people need to do the same kind of thing that I think old people, not old people, people my age should be doing right now, and that is collective living. So it's extremely difficult for people to live on their own and pay the rent that's maybe at least $600 a month. So a couple people living together could probably pull that off.
Yeah, we have kids that make plans all the time to get apartments together. Unfortunately, one might have a job, but when you're looking at 16 and 17-year-old kids, it's very difficult to not only have a job that will pay rent, but to find a place that will take you.
Right.
These are minors.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
they're just
They're minors.
kids. Yeah.
Hmm. All right, so tell me some successes.
Well, Desiree's our big one. I take her everywhere I go. We've had, most of our success is that we get all of these kids into school. These kids come fighting and screaming against going to school. If they absolutely cannot attend high school, we get them in GED programs. We work really hard to help them find employment. We have 3 employed at this time, which is a good number. And we have one girl in particular that completed our services, was able to go on her own, got an apartment, got a job, and she comes back and volunteers for us and does the homeless hunt, where she goes out and seeks out other homeless teens to show them about my friend's place and to try to help. And
The homeless hunt.
Yeah.
That sounds interesting.
It is. They actually go out and hunt for homeless teens and give them bags with snacks and water and information on my friend's place with our phone number, and you know, just some various hygiene products that they might need out there in the streets.
Again, I'm just flabbergasted. How do you live on the street and you're 17 years old, for example? I just don't know. I don't know how you do that. So, Desiree, have you met other teenagers, other young people your age that are on the streets?
Well, the one staying at my friend's place.
Yes. Okay.
Other than that, not really. I've seen most of the people living in the streets, but I don't know. I just stayed at Columbia Park, so I can't really say I don't know if there's other homeless kids. I haven't seen them, but the ones that come to my friend's place.
Mm-hmm. So how can people help?
People can volunteer. We are always seeking volunteers, mentors. We would love to have people come in and work one-on-one with any one of the kids at a given time. It'd be nice for them to see some positive family interactions, some positive outcomes, how people should talk to each other and treat each other. Kind of like a big brother program, big sister program would be really interesting for us to start. Obviously, donations. We accept donations all the time, whether it's clothes, hygiene products, bottles of water, it doesn't matter. We will accept it, and our kids do need it.
Mm-hmm. Where are you located?
We are at 1112 North Grant Place in Kennewick.
Where is that? I mean,
It's off of Canal, and I think it's Canal and Okanagan.
It's behind Myers.
It's
Auto
behind
Tech.
Myers Auto Tech.
okay. Mm-hmm. So that is a pretty good location, and it's close to Kamiakin High School.
Correct.
Yeah. What is the youngest person that you have in the house right now and you have ever had?
Currently 16 is our youngest. We've had a 13-year-old recently.
Hmm. What happened to that 13-year-old?
Her father came and picked her up, but it actually required a police escort. It was not a happy ending for the child, but she ended up going home with her dad.
Mm-hmm. Well, what kind of things do you do to help fix the families? Fix is kind of a broad word, but create an environment where adults and children can live together.
Well, that's easier said than done. Most of
Yeah.
the parents have signed off. When I say signed off, we have to get parental consent for anyone 13 to 17. And we call the parents when the child comes in and we say, are you allowing this child to stay here? And yes, they are. They don't care. And half the time they'll tell us they don't want them back. So there's no family reunification at that point. This child is on their own, and we have to start looking in other directions. So our first concern is school, safety, cleanliness. You know, we meet all the basic needs, and then we strive, you know, for more. We're on a limited time schedule. We're supposed to have these kids for 31 days. and we have kids with us who have been in our care for over 5 months.
31 days, well, then what do you do? So you're stretching your own rules there.
Yeah, it's county rules. That's what they allow us to, that's basically what they'll pay us for, is 31 bed nights. So every day after 31 days, we're covering the bill.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's why the community donations are so important.
All right. So that's where we can help. We can donate, we can volunteer. Give me a phone number that if people want to call and learn about volunteer opportunities, what would that be?
554-1480.
1480. 554-1480. All right. I'm coming over.
Great.
Yeah, I
We'd
want
love to have you.
to look at the place.
People are welcome to come anytime and get a tour also.
Heather and Desiree, thank you. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hey, coming up next, we're going to talk about what would it be like to go for a whole year on, basically I call it a limited buying spree. What does that mean? We'll share that with you in just a few minutes. Stay with us.